Reserve. We're with you for a fantastic round 10 clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au. Smith somehow right down the eastern touchline, 12-4 the score. Well, the first attacking opportunity the Capras had.
Hello and welcome to After the 80. I'm your host Ben Wilmot, and joining me on the panel as always is Anthony Bomber Breeze. Welcome back, Bomber.
No, it was a great weekend there. Great grand final over there. Congratulations to Goodna and brothers in the lower two grades there. The BRL side got up, which was a great win, which obviously we'll talk about later.
Yep.
The in-trust was going good, and the NRL Finals got underway as well for the second week.
Well, so your tip with the Sunshine Coast Falcons was on the money.
Yeah, I've got a bit of inside information. So going good.
Excellent. Well, also joining us on the panel today, we've got the Goodna Eagles halfback, Kirk, and he picked up player of the finals on the weekend in Goodna's win over brothers in the A-grade Grand Final, and pleasure to have you with us, Corey.
Yeah, morning boys, thanks for having me.
And obviously you've had to cut short your celebrations to come in. I know it's Wednesday, but I'm sure there's still a few boys out there enjoying themselves.
Yeah, a few of the boys are still enjoying the win, but back to work yesterday for me. So.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, it was a great win to watch, and it was. We'll definitely talk about that a little bit more in the show. But also joining us on the panel today, we have the Ipswich Rugby League treasurer, Byron Whitehead. Thanks for coming on, Byron. And a great day to be down at the North Ipswich Reserve on Saturday.
For you guys, yes. For someone who never got to see a football kick, no.
Excellent. And now the season's all wrapped up. What next for you?
Just basically wrap the entire season up and get ready for the AGM, and then 2017 and do it all again.
Excellent. Well, let's take a look at the Ipswich A-grade Grand Final, and we had a cracker of a game between brothers Ipswich and the Goodna Eagles. Obviously, the Goodna Eagles finished the season as minor premiers for a good reason, and unfortunately, while you used about 40 players throughout the season, it was the 17 on the day who got to enjoy the grand final. And what was it like to play in it, Corey?
Yeah, obviously, conditions weren't great, but yeah, just it's been a while since we've been in the big dance. So everyone the 17 that played on the day enjoyed the experience, and fortunately we got the outcome that we were after.
We were talking before the game as well about the sheer amount of brothers in the team as well. The Ione brothers clearly celebrating with the family after. It seemed like there was a lot of touching moments after the win as well. Yeah.
It's a special moment for those guys who are lucky enough to have brothers or family members in the team. And I think we had the three Ione brothers and the two Samatafa brothers. So I'm sure it's a moment that they'll treasure forever.
12 years in the making makes it all that much sweeter when you get it.
It does. It's been a long time between drinks for us, but this year there was a special feeling around the club, and we were confident going into the day, confident in our ability. It was just a matter of turning up with the right attitude, right state of mind, and going out and doing the job.
Well, you came from behind. Was that part of the plan, just to add to a bit of the drama for the day? You definitely made the setup for a great grand final going in.
Yeah. No, probably not part of the plan. But in saying that, that's how we've played a lot of our footy this year. We've let the opposition get a couple of tries before we decided to play our footy. So it's probably. That's how our season's gone. At least we've been consistent with that type of footy.
It shows a bit of mental fortitude as well, knowing that even when you're down at those points, you can still come back and win a grand final like that. After some great work, as we're watching on the screen at the moment, some great comeback tries and some great individual efforts as well. Yeah,
I think it shows great character. Sort of brothers flew out the blocks and put three on us quite quickly, and.
You're clearly pretty happy about yourself in that moment.
Yeah, mate, right spot at the right time.
Yep, excellent. And Bomber, what did you make of the refereeing? We had Belinda Sleeman come back. She's a former Ipswich local as well. It was good to have her there for grand final day.
Well, I think the players now have embraced a female player refereeing our game. I think years ago when she did start there, I think the players thought, oh, what the females know about rugby league. But obviously they see her now week in, week out. She runs lines for the Broncos game. She does centres for the NYC and all that there. So obviously she knows the rules. She's done our semi-finals and both teams were quite happy with her. In semi-finals, they were happy with her as well. So probably a good choice from the QRL.
Well, it's a tough job for anyone, isn't it? Doing an A-grade grand final, there's going to be a lot of passion in the air and a lot of close calls as well.
Oh, well, that's right there. You're probably not going to keep everybody happy on the field all the time there, but as long as you can control them and all that there and make the best decision as you see there, I'm sure both teams were happy with the decisions that she did make. Well, I'm sure brothers probably weren't happy with some of the decisions, but unfortunately we have to have a winner and a loser.
Yep. Well, we were down there filming for the A-grade grand final, and it was great to be down there as part of the After the 80 crew with the crew out from USQ Springfield. We were filming live for the game, and the live stream, the copy of the match is up online as well if you want to check that out and watch the commentary from Ben Dobbin and Chris Bombolis as well. It was great to have them on board.
And also yourself, Ben, you did a great job on the sideline there.
Thank you.
First go in the wet.
You got to brave the conditions to get the good stuff. So it was definitely good to get out there and feel the emotion on the grounds. But before going into the A grade, we also had the reserve grade final between the Goodna Eagles. Sorry, not the Goodna Eagles, the Brothers and the Eastern Cobras. Unfortunately, it was the Goodna Eagles who finished as minor premiers throughout the season as well, but got knocked off in the opening stages. And Byron, were you surprised by Brothers coming back and getting the win over the Cobras?
Well, I didn't see much of the game, but I really thought the Cobras had them. And, you know, that's football. That's grand final football. Until that referee blows that final whistle, you keep playing.
That's it.
And Brothers did.
Well, it was Brothers' third premiership as well for the year. They'd wrapped up the second division, the Colts and the reserve grade. Unfortunately, you stopped them from getting 4 straight, Corey. But and it was the Colts starting off the day as well with Brothers getting the win over the Goodna Eagles. Unfortunate result to start the day for the Eagles faithful.
Yeah, it was. In saying that, I think it was still a really successful year for our Colts. You know, unfortunately they got a few injuries in the semi-final. So you know, I think 40 to 26 is still a really great effort from our Colts, and you know, hopefully graduate a few of them through into the seniors with us next year.
Still watching PJ Olatoa as well, the little brother of Malaki, and he plays very much like Anthony Milford.
Yeah, PJ is a special player. And I think it's, you know, all 3 brothers just got natural talent and talent that you can't teach or coach. So yeah, we'll be trying to encourage PJ to push on up to the Jets and so forth. But obviously, yeah, we'll have him back at Goodna when he's ready to come back.
Definitely. Well, it was a good result for both Brothers and Goodna and the Eastern Cobras making it there on the grand final day, and Brothers wrapping up all those premierships, and Goodna Eagles finishing minor premiers in the reserve and coming 1 win away from winning a premiership in the Colts as well. Yeah,
well, as you can see there, the clubs that obviously do things right, and they've got the depth there. Like you said, Goodna were minor premiers, A grade, reserve grade, and their 19s were finished third on the ladder there. Brothers were second in the A grade, minor premiers, reserve grade, minor premiers 19. So the other clubs have just got to get that professionalism, get the fitness back up, and I'm sure they will now. So they got something to strive for. So.
Well, it changes every year. It's going to be interesting to see who's coming back into the fold next year and who's going to be taking out the premiership in 2017. Well, next we'll be taking a look at the QRL and the NRL finals as they're heating up for this weekend. All that and more here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, and over the weekend the QRL finals continued with the first game on Saturday seeing the Sunshine Coast Falcons get up over the Townsville Blackhawks in Townsville 10-18. Bomber, it seems your tip was correct for once.
Yeah, well, a couple of weeks ago I did tip the sunny coast to go. I didn't say they'd win the grand final, but I expected them to go a fair way through the competition there. But And it was obviously a big win for him over the Townsville Blackhawks there. I think a lot of people had the Blackhawks as probably winning this game. They were in form, they were at home, and they had a lot more NRL experience in their side. But obviously the Sunny Coast did the right thing, led by ex-Parramatta player Ryan Morgan.
Yeah,
3
that's it.
tries.
And it was last year's grand finalists as well. They would have been expecting themselves to get the win up in home.
Yeah, well, that's probably 2 years in a row since they've come into the competition. They've been the heavyweights there, they've been the favourites, and right near the end of the season, they've fallen over both times. So,
Is this a bit of players coming back from the Storm for the Falcons as well?
oh well, they get a few players back there. I think they've only basically had 3. I think Ryan Morgan's been there towards the end of the year. Felicia Kafusi, I think, has been up there as well, and one other there. So they've used them, and obviously they've appreciated them being around a lot of their junior players and different things. And obviously some bad reads there, obviously by the Blackhawks centre there, and that was Ryan Morgan's second try. So,
And it's still Matty Bowen there, the number 14, I believe. Bit of experience there. You would have expected him to know what they were in for finals.
yeah, well, I think Costigan's still there, and that's mean they got a handful of ex-Cowboys in their side as well. So they were probably just as NRL stacked as probably what the Sunny Coast side had. So, but it was a good win by Sunny Coast.
Yep. Corey, does that kill a bit of confidence when you've gotten all the way to the finals, leading one of the top teams, and you get a final at home and then kind of mince it?
Yeah, I guess if you finish on top, you got a fair bit of momentum, fair bit of confidence leading into the game. So I'm sure they'll be disappointed not to get the win there.
Yeah. Well, on Sunday, the Burleigh Bears were too good for the Redcliffe Dolphins, winning 24-40 at Dolphin Oval. And Byron, was this the sort of scoreline you were expecting at this point of the season?
That shouldn't have been a final scoreline, no. No. Yeah.
And again at home as well.
Exactly, and anything over 10 points in the final series really is too big a margin.
How do you toughen up the defence after a performance like that in the final?
Well, obviously the coach has got a hard week now. He's got to convince them that they are capable of going further.
We saw a couple of the Burleigh players that we're looking at the moment. I believe it's Cameron Cullen and the new Parramatta Eels player, Jamal Fogarty, who's coming into the mix for you, Bomber. Looking forward to seeing that.
He looks a quality talent there. He's a goal kicker as well, runs the ball well, but Redcliffe were just blowing off the park in the first half. It was 28-0 half time.
Yep.
It was basically over. And then I think they took the foot off the throttle a little bit there, and Redcliffe scored 4 converted tries, which made it probably a little bit more interesting. Otherwise it could have been a real thrashing. So.
Pretty disappointing for your fans turning up on the day.
Yeah, well, especially for Redcliffe, the last couple of weeks there, they've put on 70 and 40 and all that there. So they had been one of the best attacking teams in the competition, but obviously Jimmy Lenihan masterminded a plan that would beat Redcliffe there, and it worked. So,
is it a matter of having a couple of, as you said, big scores that they've posted on oppositions, used to having your attack kind of riding the game?
Well, we did say that the week before when they got 74, what would they have gained out of it, which they probably would have gained probably not much out of it there because the opposition was obviously pretty weak, but obviously they'll go back to the drawing board. They're one of the best teams all year, so unfortunately it was a loss, and like I said, a tear you play on the day. Burleigh come all switched on, and
well, they're minor premiers for a reason, aren't they? So I'm sure they'll be looking to bounce back this weekend.
yes, so... But like you said, they were the best team all year, one of the best teams. So it's Sunny Coast this week, and it's another game, and let's start again. So.
Excellent. Well, let's take a look at the NRL now. And the finals kicked off at Suncorp Stadium on Friday with the Broncos taking on the Titans in front of a 44,000 crowd for Corey Parker's last home game of the season. There was a bit of controversy with some calls in the game. And Bomber, what did you make of the refereeing?
Well, obviously we've just found out recently that one of them's been dropped completely. The other one, and the other one's been dropped back to a pocket referee. So obviously the NRL or the Referees Association have said they had a bad game. And if you got on Twitter after the game there,
they were blowing up.
It just went off there. Like sometimes you can expect a couple of bad decisions, a forward pass and all that. You let them get away, but the contentious points. The penalty try, if you're a Titans fan, obviously you're blowing up about that. By the letter of the law, it probably was a penalty try, but He did kick out with his foot there, but it was not a dangerous kick. It was just towards the board, tapped it out. But unfortunately, that's how it is. And then obviously we had Corey Oates in a dangerous position. Well, they both jumped for the ball. He put himself in that dangerous position. So obviously the Titans were probably a little bit dudded with that one there. And then obviously the Broncos scored the try from when James Roberts had the kicking incident there. But I think the biggest point is when the bunker overturns a ruling. Like earlier on, it was the Titans feed, the bunker came in and said, oh no, it was a knock on. So the Broncos got the feed. Well, the bunker didn't get involved here. So I think a lot of fans are blowing up that the bunker shouldn't get involved in the field of play. Only
It's the inconsistency, isn't it?
So that's they get involved one time there. They've got to get involved every time. Otherwise, if you're on the losing or you're getting the bad decisions, that's why you're blowing up, because it's not getting changed. So.
Well, the last time these two sides met in a finals game, they posted 72 points between the two of them. It was the highest scoring finals game on record, and this year they've done it again, doing it 74 points this time. Corey, is it disappointing that after doing that kind of scoreline, we're still talking about the refs afterwards instead?
It is. It's always disappointing when we're talking about referees after the game, instead of the quality football that was played.
It was good to see a South East Queensland local derby, and we're in for another one with North Queensland Cowboys up against the Broncos this weekend, so definitely going to be a cracker as well. Well, on Saturday night, the Cowboys actually had a hard task of beating the Storm down in Melbourne, and the Melbourne Storm just proved too good on the night, earning themselves a week off with a 16-10 win. Byron, did you manage to catch the Storm's win there?
Just caught the highlights of it, but... No,
expected to win, weren't they?
It was the outcome I was expecting, yes.
And Melbourne would be pretty happy earning the week off after that as well, and avoiding the task of playing either the Broncos or the Cowboys again.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, and it's going to be interesting to see now how it pans out and who they do get to play next.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they've been an exciting finals so far, and week 2 of the finals start on Friday night with the Broncos heading up to Townsville to take on the Cowboys in an elimination football in the Grand Final rematch. Bomber, this should be the match of the weekend to watch.
Oh, well, obviously, if you're a Queenslander, the Cowboys-Broncos there, as you can see, will probably be the game of the round there. But obviously, we've got Raiders fans and Panthers obviously looking at the other one there. So, as you can see, whoever wins the Cowboys-Broncos will play the Sharks. And the Raiders-Panthers winner goes to play Melbourne and Melbourne. So, so we've got some great finals coming up this weekend. So.
Obviously, last year's premiers, do you think the form that Broncos have shown in the last few weeks is a good indication that they can match it with the Cowboys?
Well, the Broncos probably haven't been in the best of form the last couple of weeks there, but they get the job done. So you can be in bad form as long as after the 80 minutes
you're in front.
You're in front. So, but this week will be a bigger test with the JT side up there in Townsville there. So, but I'm tipping the Cowboys will in the Broncos run this weekend. So.
And Corey, I understand that you're a Canberra Raiders fan, so you must be happy to see them into the second round.
Yeah, disappointing that they didn't get the result last week, but yeah, definitely tipping them to bounce back against the Panthers. Should be a very entertaining game, 2 real attacking sides. So yeah, fingers crossed, Canberra's on top after the 80.
Excellent. Well, it was pretty exciting football from the Panthers on the weekend, wasn't it? It was a bit of Jets football, I guess, throwing the ball around and just seeing what was happening.
Yeah, no, they play a real attacking style of footy and back themselves, which is good for the fans to watch.
Both sides kind of play that same kind of style, don't they? So it's going to be interesting coming up against each other. That's
right. Yeah. So yeah, I think it'll be. I'm tipping a high-scoring match, and one of the games whoever can score the most points will. I don't think defence will be a real key. I think it'll come down to whoever can score the most points. I'm guessing you're backing the Raiders in that one then? 100%. And what about the Cowboys Broncos? I'm tipping the Broncos to show up and play a lot better than what they have been, but probably just a little bit too much class in the Cowboys outfit. Yep. Byron, what about your tips, mate?
Well, my heart says Broncos, but my brain says Cowboys.
Yep. I think a lot of Queensland fans are going to be feeling the same way.
Even though I'd hate to see the Panthers go out this week, I'm with Corey. I think the Raiders will end their season.
Yep. Bomber, just quickly, what's yours?
Like I said before, Cowboys and Panthers.
Excellent, okay. Well, coming up after the break, we'll be discussing all the action in last week's QRL final, and the Redcliffe and Jets go head-to-head in the BRL Grand Final this weekend. All that more here on After the 80. And welcome back to After the 80. And on Saturday, Redcliffe take on the Ipswich Jets in the BRL Grand Final at Bishop Park. And Bomber, this is surely going to be a cracker of a grand final.
Yeah, well, obviously Redcliffe have been the best team all year in this BRL competition, but the Jets are starting to hit a bit of form towards the end of the year, and obviously they got a few players back there. Obviously Chris Ash being their biggest player back from the Intrust there. He qualified because of obviously the first half of the year he was a BRL player before stepping up to the Intrust, and Makari Beattie and obviously Ono and
Queensland residents.
All the boys, Lockie Rowe and all that. So they're all on fire there. They've beaten Wynnum now last week. So obviously this is the big dance this weekend. So.
And Redcliffe finishing minor premiers in both the BRL and the Intrust Super Cup as well. That's an incredible achievement for the club. So the Jets are going to be up against it.
Yeah, well, obviously depth is the thing in most clubs, and obviously if you've got depth like obviously Goodna and Brothers had, you make it to the grand finals in the top grades and the lower grades under. It all just filters down. So as long as you haven't got injuries in your club, you go
You're
well.
going to go right. Well, Byron, you had half of the BRL side in your Ipswich Diggers side this year, and a great win for them this year. They'd be riding high on that.
Oh, Chris and the boys, you know, compared with the 10 guys we had from the BRL and the 10 guys we had from the Jets BRL team, they just melded together. They formed one terrific team. Of course, we won the Germans Challenge, and then of course Chris and the boys reaped the rewards by going on to South East Queensland and then on to the residents. And I just wish them all the best, because we are white, we are green.
Excellent. Well, they played at Emerson Park on the weekend, Corey, while you were battling the same kind of conditions at North Ipswich Reserve. I don't know if you saw the photos, but it looked like a pool that they were swimming in. So I'm sure they're just hoping that the weather stays away this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. Nice dry game. Everyone will be happy.
It doesn't really suit the Jets kind of football, does it, when you're playing in wet conditions?
No, not at all. I think, as you've seen from our game too, you know, when in those sorts of conditions, all the sort of fancy footy goes out the window and it just turns into a good old slugfest. So hopefully it's dry conditions for the Ipswich boys and they can get the job done.
Bomber, back-to-back premierships if they get it. It's a hard task for any team to do. Do you think they can do it?
Oh, well, it is always hard to back up the next year because you don't actually have the same team. Obviously, when you're winning in them reserve grade type things, the BRL, your better players go up. And I'm sure this is probably Ashley's last game in the BRL. He's probably an Intrust player now, so he won't be there next year. So they'll be looking for a full-time halfback. And then there's other players, like I said, Lockie Rowe, I think, has got the capabilities to step up into the Intrust team. And I'm sure the Walker boys have got an eye on him. And then you've got Ono, who flashes around and has played in the Intrust there on the wing, so he'll be fighting for a spot too.
Yeah.
So
Damon Whitaker, there's a bunch of guys who've been having a great experience this year, and I'm sure, as you said, Chris Ash would like to finish off his BRL days with a win and a second premiership. It'd be a great way to see him out. Well, to the QRL then, in the final week of the final sees the Dolphins take on the Sunshine Coast at Dolphin Park, and Corey, can the Dolphins bounce back from the big loss that they suffered at home last weekend?
Yeah, Benny, I believe they will. Obviously finishing the minor premiers, you know, that loss on the weekend could be a blessing in disguise for them. I think, particularly being down there at Redcliffe again, I think they'll be able to turn it around and be too strong for the Sunny Coast Falcons.
Yep. Byron, do you think the loss last week will shock them back into action?
I certainly hope it does. No, well, as Corey says, sometimes you know, a loss in a final series can be just the wake-up medicine you need at that time of the year. You know, we've won everything, but we've become complacent. There's still a couple of games of football to play.
Yep. Bomber, whichever team comes through faces Burleigh in the grand final, and which team have you got your money on? You had your money on the Sunshine Coast Falcons, but it doesn't sound you're that confident they're going to take it out.
Well, I tipped the Sunny Coast quite a few weeks ago there. They've had a hard run. They had to go to PNG 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
And then last week they had to go up to North Queensland. So they have travelled a bit, and obviously this week they're down at Dolphin Park. So well, I've tipped them every other week, so there's no reason to jump off them this week. So
stick with
but
them.
Obviously Redcliffe are going to be a different kettle of fish back at home, and obviously they were minor premiers for a reason. So.
I think I'm going to go with Redcliffe on this one. I think they're going to bounce back and finishing the season as minor premiers. They've got a good reason to feel comfortable at home. And what did you make of the Burleigh win though? Pretty impressed with that?
Yeah, I was there. I tipped Redcliffe, actually. I thought they would come out there, but obviously the ex-Ipswich boy and Jimmy Lenihan had a game plan, like I said earlier there, and 28-0 at half-time, the game was basically over. They they shut up shop a little bit and they scored 4 converted tries. Otherwise, it could have been about 60. So, but obviously, like they said, it's a different kettle of fish this week. It's a different game, and I'm sure Redcliffe will be pumped to have a crack at Burleigh the week after. It'll be revenge.
Well, I know they'll be broadcasting that game on television between the Sunshine Coast Falcons and the Redcliffe Dolphins at Dolphin Park. And if you've got a chance to get down to Bishop Park on Saturday at 3:30, I believe, to watch the Ipswich Jets take on the Redcliffe Dolphins in the BRL Grand Final. Good luck to all the boys from the Ipswich Jets. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have tonight. Thanks very much, Corey, for coming onto the show with us. We'll let you go back and enjoy your Grand Final celebrations now.
Pleasure, Benny.
Also like to thank Byron for coming on. It's always good to have you, mate.
Thanks, Ben. Bomber, pleasure.
And Bomber, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule at the TAB. Get down here.
No, I'm not allowed to bet.
Well, to keep up to date with all the local action, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/AfterThe80TV. From all of us here at After the 80, join us next week and have a good night.